me to be the future poet. It really means a lot to me. All of us poets write kind of silently until someone gives us that moment, you know. Or these open mics. Okay. Here's the photo. Rochelle Parsons, the real badass. So this is the date refers to the past, okay? So when you hear the date, you'll get that. Rochelle Parsons, owner-operator of a 1976 Shelby Mustang GT500, owner of Moose, the Bull Mastiff, and 3 other rescue dogs, IBM mainframe help desk for 23 and a half years, President's Special Athletic League Award winner, Second Amendment advocate. My beloved Rochelle, my sister, died today at 5:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. My USMC mother, who outranked my USMC dad, raised 2 girls to be 2 independent, very tough cookies. In that respect, my sister Rochelle, who finally pulled the plug on herself yesterday by signing a DNR, was the real badass. Rochelle died of chronic respiratory failure, and she refused to live with a tube up her nose in an assisted living facility. What Rochelle loved more than anything else was the muscle car. My sister absolutely loved the American automobile, and she made up her mind to split my parents' suburban home the day she turned 17. No permission, my keys in the ignition. I'm driving, baby, I'm rolling. She used to love to declare from the driver's seat window of her Shelby Mustang, which she bought while saving up over the years of lesser cars, 2 Chevy Impalas, an Oldsmobile Cutlass, a beloved beat-to-shit Firebird Trans Am. Rochelle was all about the high performance. The American made, hot in the shade, Hurst transmission, 6AL ignition, the Cast Boss 9 block rocker, the 93 octane no knocker, Mopar, NASCAR, drag shock supported, CNC ported, down to the chrome fuel pump block off. She ain't no Eleanor knockoff. Rochelle would drive her Shelby Mustang into the night, around and around Hudson, Orange, and Ulster counties, Bronx and Manhattan, despite 8 miles to the gallon, or 8 gallons to the mile. All worthwhile, cause it made her smile. Now, flash drive, upload, get off of my road, gypsy kingin' and voodoo swingin'. She lived only for these hours, for the moments at the traffic light stopped, when the bumper boys, she called the cute car guys, would pull up alongside her and ask, "Is that your machine, pretty lady?" Rochelle was an attractive redhead with an enormous smile that would render any man defenseless. She'd willingly say, "You want to drag?" Now the 2 engines revving up, blood pressure boiling, Castrol edge roiling, BFG4 Sport Comp rubber and chrome rims vibrating, Count Basie and the woofers pulsating. Ha! She is counting down the light. Rochelle knew the exact second of all the traffic light changes at virtually every intersection in Ulster County. She is going to whoop his ass. 8, 7, 6, it turns yellow. Rev it, sister. 3, 2, 1. She smiles at the competition without even looking at the signal and drops her into gear because she knows it is green in -1 second and she's gone. And a fuel flash, a fuel torrent. The red-headed, red-hot chick in a muscle car, and he's dust. She lived for this. Some might say, how childish. But the secret that none of her admiring fly-by-night bumper boys knew from the outside of her muscle monster as she looked from the roll-down window was that Rochelle was paralyzed from the waist down for her entire life. She lived life in a wheelchair, in a car. No one knew, and she was sexy as anything. That's just gonna sit here for while I do this next one. That's my sister and I with our band, which was called the Hallucinations. We thought we were really cool. We even had a drummer. we played gigs. This is called Wingman's Dilemma. In the annals of men, great and wise, proud men and kings, secret brotherhoods, private armies and clans, even the greatest emperors of ancient dynasties regarded one social role universally understood and acknowledged, but reserved only for the most upright best friend, because it is a selfless act. That role in man code is the wingman. Yeah, it's a selfless act. Like Virgil, who takes Dante through hell to locate Beatrice, Dante's dream woman, or what Cyrano de Bergerac was to Christian de Neuvillette. He penned letters to win over her heart for his friend. 15 years pass until a bitter Cyrano, dying, tells Roxane of his unrequited love. Yes, that's selfless act. But men, take notice. Your best wingman is going to be a woman. Trust me, the advantage of the wing woman is that she is way less confrontational. She can go right over to the target's table, and she's no threat. Even homing in on that posse of girls' night out, white girl wasted, or just BFFs taking drunk selfies. A woman approaches, and the barriers are already lowering. You can trust her. She's not likely to make a pass at your person of interest. And often, when your target is with a friend, the wing woman doesn't have to take the big ugly one home and eat her for dinner. There's a deft art at doing this awkward task. I have been called upon to do it more than once through a male buddy. I'm smooth as the Artful Dodger, as nonchalant as Heidi Fleiss at a high roller's cocktail party, but as innocently devilish and charming as Lolita. I can work the room. But the real reason why I understand what to do is because whereas male wingmen will lie and fabricate stories about you to impress the said target, like about how you went to rescue a puppy from a burning building and found a baby in there too, or how you just returned from your 4th deployment in Fallujah. A lady wingman, this wingman, doesn't have to rely on lies. She's the real hero. She will walk into that house to get you laid. She will extol about your charm and then signal you with a wink when the moment is right. She will even adjust the tousled lock of hair over your forehead, or adjust your cap and suspenders so that it falls just right. And hold her breath so she does not lose focus on the mission. She will make conversation. She'll make it flow if you stutter. Laugh at your jokes and then move away. Back away ever so slowly so you will not even notice she has vanished. You see, the agonizing truth about the wingman woman is that you can pour your heart out, bragging about this guy, telling the mark how awesome he is. Look at him over there, so noble, reserved, and behaving. And yes, he did do that many deployments to Iraq, and he knows all the verses to the national anthem, and then he rode solo across country on his Springer front-end Harley-Davidson Road King with a teardrop trailer hitched to the back, with the worst for wear paint job and the grease and mud and piss from 14 states, with just the clothes on the Confederate flag on his back, to go to school on the GI Bill. And look what a man he is with his chewing tobacco and obscure knowledge about the history of Civil War firearms. And it's passed down for Appalachian generations Tennessee recipe for rough cut moonshine, and was even born on a street called Elvis Presley Way. Yes, I can say all these things and more, honey, if you'll just come sit at his table. And then I will make the ultimate sacrifice. I will disappear. Because I know this, that the real wingman's dilemma is that she does not need to invent, to lie, to exaggerate, to fabricate, because She may just possibly even love him herself. You know what's my time? All right, thank you.
10:15 more minutes. Just about time.
Okay. Yeah, I have quite a few more. I just want to make sure I get my favorite one in before anybody leaves. It's called House for Sale. I want a house that takes care of itself. A smart house, where the dishes put themselves away, where the clothes pick themselves up off the floor and hang themselves up. I want a house where the refrigerator would shut up already with its humming and simply defrost. The self-cleaning oven was way ahead of its time. So where are you at, toilet? Why can't you just get on board and clean yourself? I want a house where the bathtub is self-scrubbing, so I don't have to inherit somebody else's bathtub ring. I want a house with no dining room table or chairs, or anything where you just sit around and waste real estate. If God created the seventh day to rest, he did not imagine man would run with that and create the lazy boy, which is just a giant repository for change and pizza crust, and the black hole of remote devices 2-color TVs ago. I want a house where the vacuum cleaner will roll out on a regular basis and chase down the woolly bandits and dust bunnies hanging around in a stubborn coalition with the garden debris that worked its way in, the appendages of dead crickets and the airborne petals of uninteresting local flora, now all residing under the kick plate of the kitchen cabinet. And that thick film of dust, which we are told is 80% dead skin cells, is dust that might contain the dead skin cells of Albert Einstein, or the Queen of Thessaloniki flying around since 315 BC, or maybe the dead skin cells of the revolutionary Pancho Villa, who overthrew Huerta in 1914 to arrive here, yes, here, this detritus that lies on all the flat surfaces that I cannot see above, will be periodically pulled up through the return air grill, where it will be shot into the ionosphere and then rain back down somewhere away from my house, like Peoria, the one in Illinois. I want a house where the lawn chairs right themselves after a storm, angled neatly, and discuss among each other how best to prepare for the winds of August that sway the old tire, dangling from the tree, a smart tree, which botanists have invented, so that it never loses its leaves. They just change color with the seasons and never fall off and mess everything up. Why can't the lawn weed itself and the garbage recycle itself? Why can't the mailbox turn everything addressed or a current resident into a useful little compost cube and send it down through the hollow post, joining a subterranean network of other junk mail cubes deep in the diatomaceous earth, in the unseen rivulets below the desert striata, and ferment with the rains of vegetation and old cowboys and lost Mexican migrants who met their fate roaming in the blistering desert sun, and in a few centuries will become oil. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam. Never made any sense to me. I don't want anything roaming on my property, from wild animals to Jehovah's Witnesses, Girl Scouts selling cookies, trick-or-treaters arguing over candy. No, I am not a home person. The smart house would have to understand me. Ideally, my smart house would consume itself, would begin to feed on itself from the day I inhabit it, and over time decompose into the humus and become the foundation of the next house, so that by the time I am gone, there will be nothing left but the cellulose fiber of the wood and the paper and sheets, so that when I close the door for the very last time, it will collapse into the silt and seed of future organisms with the strata of memories buried with it once and for all. Short, yeah. The monsoon, as told by a lawn chair. Oh, where are you? I don't hear you, my dear. I can't see you. Last evening, about 11:30, we were sitting so close, our arms overlapping as we have sat for so many years, through so many monsoons, our legs touching as we've been stuck here since the last flood, and you were humming to me as if to comfort me. As the thunder grew louder and the approaching winds wailed in the distance, the neighbor lady flicked on the back door light to see how bad the squall was getting. And that was when I watched in horror as you flew into the air like the chaperone from Dorothy's house in The Wizard of Oz. You flew up there and spun, and then when you turned the light, back door light, when you turned off the back door light, you disappeared. Where are you, my dear? Where are you in the darkness? Earlier that night, we'd been listening to Dolly Parton on the neighbor lady's radio. The song was "The Pain of Loving You." When the emergency broadcast came over the airwaves, and we sat there listening in as she was trying to tune the antenna in the night air where the local forecast was warning of a strong wind that indicated a possible storm front moving fast along the Texas border, heading towards Arizona. And then it hit. The morning light came, and there you are. Oh, my dear. You're all tangled up in the mesquite tree, but not broken. The monsoon winds having carried you into the air, pitching and yawing like an ill-equipped piston airplane, and then let you go, and you finally crashed to the ground, strewn about 20 feet from me. When the little girl came out of the house to pick up after the mess, I was so grateful I was crying. But you couldn't tell because everything was wet. And she dragged you over to the spot next to me, not even realizing she had just reunited us. The seemingly inanimate lawn chairs were actually two lovers pretending to just be chairs. And as she went into the house and closed the door, I felt the warm sun on us, and I heard you sing to me, "Oh, the pain of loving you, oh, the misery I go through, never knowing what to do, oh, the pain of loving you." Thank you, Dolly Parton. Okay. This one is dedicated to Rosa. Here we go. I need a drink for this. Kitchen menace. I don't know how they get in here. How do they find their way into my house? Do they come through the carport? Or do they get in through the back door if it's left open? I mean, how do they get in? Into my kitchen, and now inside the cabinet, over the juicer. It seems like there are more and more of them every day, multiplying. In that cabinet, I don't recognize them, these odd sizes and colors. Where are they coming from? And then there comes the day when I have to open up the cabinet, and they all fall out all over the counter. Lids. I'm talking about lids. They don't fit any bowls that I have. They don't go with any of my containers. I can't find one match in this whole batch. You have the nerve to call yourself Snap Lock, Grip Lock, and Zip Lock, yet there is not one container in that cabinet that you snap, grip, or zip to. When I feel the need to seal, you let me down. Your color coded has long since corroded. How can you be peligrosa when your body says microwave safe? Some of you still have labels. These labels aren't even products that I use. I don't eat pulled pork, sandwich spread, nor 5-layer dip. Under what slot did you slip? Every so often the situation gets so out of hand that I'll count 6 bowls, 14 lids, and one lid that says Tupperware. Tupperware? That must have moved from New Jersey with my mother 16 years ago. I don't own anything like that. I mean, my storage needs are minimal. You will not find me in the aisles of the Container Store. Tupperware, Corningware, I just don't care. For that much domestic declension, too much tension. Now they come stackable, rackable, iPhone trackable, or like those Russian dolls that one fits inside the other. Who thought of that? And why? It's like socks. You just have to throw them out and start all over. But in no time, they're back in the drawer, mismatched and in an uneven number. How do they do that? Lids, you're a kitchen menace. I'm taking you out. I'm skipping the recycle bin. Can't take any chances that you'll find a way back in. Piggybacking on top of a 5-gallon bucket disguised as a drywall spreader or a plastic shim. I gathered up the culprits, went boldly out the back door to the hoot-tang of night train bottles, UV eroded network junction boxes, old 811B interstices, broken glass, neglected aquariums of disinterested hobbyists, and those weirdly degenerating oversized baby toys, and that nocturnal thoroughfare, the alley. As I opened up the granddaddy of all lids, that big black maw in the alleyway of the neighborhood garbage cans. There were their other halves, the pulled pork container, and a pint-sized potato salad cup, who said in unison when I threw them in, "Where have you been?"